You can say, without any fear of contradictions, that several parts of Nigeria, especially the Middle Belt, have been engulfed in unending crises that have resulted in the displacement of literally millions of people. Several villages and settlements have been razed down or taken over by largely stranger elements, some of them not even speaking some variant of Nigerian languages. Kaduna State, for instance, community leaders said that over 263 settlements have been taken over, and the new people living in those settlements have come to tell them that if they want to go back and farm, they should pay tax to them before they go back. And it's estimated that between Niger and Kaduna State and parts of Abuja, over 500 kilometer squares have been taken over by these elements. And in Benue State, apart from the high visibility barriers that were undertaken by the former governor and the recent killings that attracted the presence of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, things seems to have quietened down, but analysts believe that what is happening in Benue is still as deadly as it used to be. And just a few days ago, we heard about some attacks in parts of Benue State, and a group recently issued a statement listing the large number of settlements or attacks that have taken place in the last few weeks. With me to speak on this issue today is no other person than Professor Tor, former Vice Chancellor of the Benue State University, Makurdi. Prof, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, Rima.
We thought that they had returned to Benue State largely, but what is happening where there seems to be so much trouble from the statement you and your group issued?
Well, thank you very much, Rima. I think everything has gone beyond Benue State. It has gone beyond Plateau State. It has also gone beyond Southern Kaduna. As you know, people are beginning to wonder if Nigeria really matters anymore. And why? And people are also asking questions. Why is Nigeria where it is? Is anybody sleeping at the wheel? You rightly pointed out, you and I, Rima, have come a long way on this conversation. Right from when things started going horrible in Plateau State, you and I and several others predicted that the destination of this would likely be Benue. And that prediction has come to pass. And not only that, for people who thought that this whole attacks and killings by mercenaries and people we do not know who they are. Some call them Fulani militia, some call them mercenaries, some call them jihadists. But the point here is, it is not whether it is Fulani militia, it is not whether it's jihadists. The point is that Nigeria is under siege and Nigeria is and there are no two citizens in this country. There's no person that is greater than the other. We are all citizens of Nigeria. And when we call upon government to act, it is not because people hate anybody, any person in power, but it is about the fact that government has a responsibility. And that first responsibility is protection of life and properties. Remember, the question now is, like you rightly said from the beginning, the pattern of attacks is something we need to look out for. The location of the attacks is something we need to ask. And the timing of the attacks. These are patterns that need to worry us. Why is it that it's only during the rainy season, when people begin to rebuild their economic power, that attacks begin to take place? And why is it the same pattern? Why is it the same timing? Why is it all about the same locations? Yet the president visited Benue when the Yerwa attacks took place. Yes, he came. He didn't go there personally. He didn't go to the scene. But the point is that, has his visit brought in any succor? Has anything changed? Has anything changed in Plateau?
I think that's the question you ask. Are you saying that the visit of the president did not matter, it did not change anything at all?
Well, if the visit of the president had changed anything, we'll not be talking about attacks in Sai, we'll not be talking about Asai in Otuponobi and Apachai, we'll not be talking about, as we speak. I read this morning where people are, I read about, is it in Daily Post or so, where people are already talking about a large movement of people around local government area axis, where this large movement of people are suspected as, and each time movement takes place like that, people are attacked. So at each given time, people are warned, people are given information about movement of people, but each time, whether the security people are compromised, I do not know. Whether they take this information serious or not, I do not know. But eventually people get attacked, people get killed, people get maimed, and we're left with IDPs, we're left with orphans, and we're left with adopted children. So what we're saying largely is the president needs to do beyond the visit. I personally think that the day Nigeria truly wants this problem to end, it is going to end. And the person that can end it is the commander, is the president, who is the GCFR. He's the commander in chief
Well,
of the
let,
Federal
let me ask
Republic,
you,
and all the security.
Prof, let me ask you
Yes.
specifically, what will you have the president do that he's not doing?
Well, specifically, he's the commander-in-chief. He is the commander-in-chief. All the security apparatus are under him. Now, we've talked about budgetary allocations. We've changed ministers, right? And each time he invites all the security heads together, he speaks to them. And we get more adoptions, we get more people kidnapped, we get more children taken away from schools. So what exactly is going on? Is it that there's no communication among the security groups, agencies, or they are simply overwhelmed, or there is compromise? The only person that can answer this is the president. Each time he invites them, what kind of directive does he give them? There's hardly any day that passes without us hearing about something happening in Zamfara, something happening in Katsina, something happening in southern Kaduna, something happening in Plateau, something happening in the southern part of Nigeria, in the west and in the middle belt. So what is going on? We think that there should be a tougher
president will say,
position about this. Yes.
Yeah, the president has said that he has approved and the National Assembly is considering the passage of a bill to allow states to set up state police as a solution.
Yes. I mean, right now we're talking about going beyond numbers. By the time you start the state police, mark my word, this is not going to be immediate. This is not going to be immediate. This might be a campaign strategy. By the time we get over 2027, nobody will want to talk about it. But if we consider this as an emergency, then there's need for an action to be going on now at both state level, at local government level, and even at the federal level. But as it is now, we're still talking about another bill, executive bill, going to the Senate or that has gone to the House of Representatives. And the House of Reps had to jettison their own to look at what, claiming that the bill, the executive bill sent by the president appears to be more comprehensive. I've not looked at it, so I don't know the difference. But the point is, these are strategies to delay action. That is my view.
Okay, now let's take a global picture about Nigeria, about this, which you have alluded to. You will recall that in 2010, we had the devastating pictures from Dogo Nahawa. And over the years, you and I think we took some aid to some communities in parts of Jos thereafter that were devastated too by these attacks. And it doesn't seem as if these communities are prepared, because each time they get attacked, they cry to government, they get attacked, they cry to government. The communities don't appear to be able to defend themselves. So what might be the issue that the communities are still vulnerable up to now?
Well, Rima, I think even the government may have given up on this, because I remember a video that was circulating claiming that the DGDSS was also beginning to suggest that communities need to learn how to defend themselves. Now, but if you ask me, the essence of governance is what? The essence of governance, first and foremost, is the protection of lives and property, and to create an enabling environment for citizens to grow and serve their society. And so when you throw back the issue of protection to a community, which indeed is very important, community systems, security systems are important, but it suggests to me, it appears to me that government has given up. But be that as it may, over the years, this has happened in Plateau, this has happened in Benue, and in many parts where citizens have attempted to defend themselves. When they try to do that, who goes after them? The same security forces who initially could not protect them comes after them. That's, unfortunately, there are incidences that have happened like that. So it's not as if citizens cannot protect themselves. Yes, they can, but as soon as they attempt to do this, the same security who initially failed to protect them comes after them, and they are demonized, they are criminalized, and they are made to look as if they ab initio are the attackers. But there is a danger. We have seen stories all over the place where victims become attackers because nobody has tried to aid them. Nobody has tried to help them. But the way it is now, communities are learning lessons. So community security systems have become necessary. Nobody is going to wait for any government advice. but people need to protect themselves because this struggle is an existential struggle. It has become very necessary.
Yeah, but that again, arguably, will increase the challenges of the legitimacy of the state, because the state should be the only group that has access to instruments of coercion. Now, if you democratize them, you will not be able to know when these things can be used in the negative.
Well, it would appear that we have sown whirlwind, so we harvest what we have sown. The point here is that government has failed to protect its citizens. There's no debate about it. Government has failed to protect its citizens. Government must think strategically what to do to make Nigerians begin to have trust in them. The issue of trust is no longer there. And in many places, people don't even trust the security men that are there. And if you ask me, I quite sympathize with most of the security men. Kept in the bush for years, for months, many of them have not seen their families. And at the end of the day, some of them are dying of trauma because of what they have seen. They're shooting themselves, they're killing themselves because the government has failed to deal with issues like that. Now, for me, it is not about putting instrument of coercion into the hands of citizens. Citizens are saying they need to be prepared so that when they are attacked, they can resist. I think that is what they're talking about. They are not going to wake up and begin to attack people. No, it is about resistance. It's about making sure that they are not run over by marauders or whoever the people are. It's just about protection. It's as simple as that. The moment people know that communities are prepared to resist attack, I think there will be caution. It will reduce the attacks. It will not only reduce that, it will minimize and also begin to let people understand that violence does not pay and nobody has monopoly of violence, because if other people also begin to attack, it is going to be dangerous. Yes.
Yeah. Now, that brings me to the issue of what is happening in Zamfara, Katsina, and Kebbi, where some community leaders and local government officials, tired of waiting for government, decided to go and make peace with their attackers. Do you think that in parts of Benue, that type of scenario might emerge in the near future?
Well, that's a very dangerous one. Very dangerous in the sense that what these attackers try to do is to systematically persist attacking communities so that communities can end up negotiating with them. And that is very dangerous because around Benue axis, people are worried about negotiating with anybody. And I think that what is happening in Zamfara, if you ask me, communities may have taken the initiative, but it is also very dangerous. I don't see it as the way out. For me, we should call a spade a spade. If these people are criminals, government should take them out. If they are found to be terrorists, government should take them out. If whatever they are, mercenaries or jihadis, government should take them out. That's the truth about it. Citizens don't have to negotiate with criminals. To do so is very, very dangerous for the state.
Yeah, but parts of Kaduna, Plateau, and I understand even parts of Benue, some communities are so trapped that they have to get permission from some of those outlaws to go back to their farms.
Well, these communities may be trapped in Benue, for instance, because government has not taken the measures, the required measures that people should go back. I remember each time people say that within 100 days, IDPs will go back to their camps. But it's over 100 days. It's over 1 year. It's over 2 years. We're talking about 3 years. These people are still there. And the number of people in IDPs continue to increase. I think there must be more drastic action about making sure that citizens go back to their ancestral homes. And one of these ways is not to go and build some very funny-looking houses in the name of resettlement. That is not what the people want. What the people want is to go back to their ancestral homes. They are connected to it. They understand it better. That alone gives them hope. So government can aid them by making sure that they provide adequate security in their ancestral homes. Infrastructural development can be taken to this place. And so long as infrastructural development increases, people will definitely move, because everywhere we are located today, if let's take Plateau, let's take Jos, for instance. I mean, many years ago, Jos was not as big as it is today. But as development expands, people move. So as we continue to improve with development infrastructural work, definitely those who are those who are occupying space illegally will definitely be compelled to move. So government must take those kind of actions, deliberate actions, to ensure that people occupying spaces that do not belong to them move away from those spaces. So I think government has to take further action than it is taking now. It is not enough to, when people are killed, we go there and say the same story, sing the same song, make the same rhetorics and all of that. But there must be deliberate action to say, look, let's go to the ancestral homes and ensure that whoever is occupying it illegally is taken away or is driven away. I mean, you can't drive citizens away from the ancestral homes and turn them into beggars. It is not correct. Because what we don't know we're building is that many of these children that are born in the camps, many of these children that are not even going to school today, tomorrow will be the bombs this country does not expect. They will move against the country. There's no doubt about that. Many of them have become 15 years old. Many of them are getting to 20 years old. They are not happy. The only way this country can make this kind of people happy is to take them back home and make sure that they are protected.
Okay, let's take a little shift to still on the global this thing. Recently, just a few days ago, the United States Congress, as part of its appropriation, passed an act that would deny aid to Nigeria until it begins. Then the government takes appropriate measures to protect Christians. There have been so many criticisms. People have said that the crisis in Nigeria is not religious, there is a multi-layered security challenges. Do you think that these actions by the United States government, Congress, would help in the current fight against insurgency in Nigeria?
Yeah, Rima, how did we get there in the first place? How did we get there in the first place? Because the country allowed it. The leadership allowed it. I mean, today, give me one reason why Nigerians will be humiliated in South Africa. Give me one reason Nigerians will be humiliated anywhere in the world. Because we have caused it. The country has caused it. So if the US is making that statement, it's making that statement because a lot of Nigerians have become helpless. They're crying out. It would appear the attacks are forgotten. It has become a forgotten conflict. It's like out of mind, out of sight. So anytime we hear about it, we just go make some noise and then walk away. And so people are now crying out loud. So if the United States is making that, the Congress is making, and by the way, the Congress, some members of the US were in Nigeria. They were in Benue. I'm sure you saw on the social media, they met with the governor of Benue State. They met with other citizens as well. So I'm not surprised about that deal. I'm not surprised at all because they came in Nigeria, they met with people. Nigerians are speaking, Nigerians are writing, but government has to take a more drastic action. Okay, now look at it. Nigeria was designated a country of particular concern. What has changed? What has changed? Is there any sign to show that we do not need to be designated as a country of particular concern? Is there any sign? What have we seen?
Many Nigerians, including those in the academia, said that the US was wrong in giving that designation to Nigeria.
Well, Rima, unless people have different views, it is only when things like this happen that we remember we're sovereignty. It's so ridiculous, isn't it? When international community gets involved, then we suddenly remember that we're sovereignty. But when attacks were going on, people were being attacked, nobody remembered that, we're sovereignty, so we need to deal with this issue. But you see, we talk about Nigeria being a global village. I mean, the world being a global village. So whatever happens here will affect every part of the world. And so other countries have a reason to intervene, especially when, has the US not intervened in Venezuela? There was an intervention. What about what is happening in Iran? People may not like it. But in the Middle East, let me put it that way, in the Middle West, people may not like it. And it's true that not many Nigerians like what is happening even between Israel and the Palestine. But that doesn't mean we should keep quiet here. That doesn't mean we should wait for other people to deal with our issues. For me, it's a shame. It's a big shame that Nigeria is on the map of the world for wrong reasons. It shouldn't be an issue of conflict. It shouldn't be an issue of religious crisis. It shouldn't be the issue of the kind of attacks we see. But we should be in the eyes of the world for economic reasons, for intellectual reasons, for reasons better for, even issues of sports. Okay, look at even the World Cup that is going on. You find the Nigerians that played for other countries are enough to form a team to represent Nigeria. That's how blessed this country is. But why have we deteriorated to this level? Why should we, Look, there's many Nigerians don't think there's hope anymore. Many Nigerians think that Nigeria is heading for a catastrophe. We're just playing with time. The government has to be more decisive.
And what do you think?
The
What is
government
your
has to be
final
more
work? You said
decisive.
many Nigerians think.
Yeah.
When you say
Sorry?
decisive, people will say that is just a general phrase. What do you want government to do?
Why is the government finding it difficult to go after those that are sponsoring terrorism in this country? Why? Why is the government making it difficult, finding it difficult to publish names of people that have been suspected or involved? Every day we see today we're talking about Malami. Today we're talking about the Mefule. Tomorrow we'll be talking about another. But who are those behind these terrorists? When are they going to be paraded? When are they going to be taken to court? Why is it so difficult? And at the end of the day, we're just pretending in this country to be a country. We don't even seem to be a country anymore. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry to say it's unfortunate.
Well,
now we're talking about 2027. For God's sake, what are we talking about 2027 for? When nobody's even sure there will be 2027.
Well, there will be elections in 2020. There will be elections in 2027, of course.
We pray that there should be elections. That is the prayer. But there should be elections on the conditions that Nigerian citizens are free to go out and vote, not to be terrorized, not to be occupied, and not to feel threatened by any group of people. So long as that is not the case, because many Nigerians are not going to be able to vote because they have been occupied. Their places have been occupied by terrorists. Today, children can't go to school. Now, let me even shock you. I don't know when last you traveled from Abuja maybe to Benue, but when you travel around, you discover that most public schools are no longer functioning. Most public schools, most of the places children are going to school are only in the cities, in the towns where there are private schools. And that's why you see even in villages, you see some small rooms like that. That is where children are going to school, in very small, unkept rooms that are not fit for education because government has failed to protect its citizens. You see Subeb spending money renovating schools. That is the in thing for all the states. But move around and tell me where these schools, who are the in fact, if you move towards Kadoroko, for instance, there's a particular school that you have a road safety there. They have taken it over as their office space. They're there all the time. And the place has become an IDP camp. If you go to Yelwata, the same thing, the school has become a place for military. It has become an IDP camp. So most public schools have become IDP camps. And you think the children born in these places tomorrow will remember Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Prof. We'll be speaking the last 20-something minutes with Professor Tor, former Vice Chancellor of the Benue State University. Thank you for giving us your time this afternoon for your thoughts.
Well, thank you, Rima.